Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Texas Sports World. I'm your host, Ethan, and we have a little bit to get into today regarding the Texas Longhorns and then the Houston Texans as well. There's been a couple of things going on. Texas goes into Nashville, handles business, maybe not necessarily the way we would like, but a dub is a dub on the road in the SEC. I wouldn't really call it on the road considering we took up like 20,000 of their 30,000 seats. So that was cool. Longhorn Nation travel. That was really dope to see. It felt like a home game, really. Every time a big play happened, it was louder for us than it was for them. So that was cool. That was cool. The players afterwards said that it made a huge difference for them. So I'm sure they appreciate that. But I want to get into let's see, what do we want to start with? So this weekend, I rewatched the Vanderbilt game and I took some notes. Not a whole lot of notes, just some stuff that was intriguing to me throughout the game. I split it up into first and second half just to see if maybe there was a trend that changed. And I hear a lot of people on Twitter talking about how Quinn's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's taking the check downs because that's what the defense is giving him, and all that's true. But I have a rebuttal for that, and we're gonna get to that. But first, I wanna read off kind of some of the stuff that that I had taken some notes on this weekend. So in the first half, okay, he had 19 pass attempts. Okay, 10 of those attempts started at negative yards behind the line of scrimmage, and only 9 went positive. Okay. In the first half, his total air yards were 36. Okay. 36 from the line of scrimmage, anyway. Like if the line of scrimmage is 0, if you just kept it at 0, he would have had only 36 yards. Now, with that being said, people will look at the 170 yards after catch and be like, oh, well, you can't scoff at that. And yes, I would agree. You can't scoff at 170 yards after the catch. That's a big number. But the mark of a true explosive offense is when the yards at the catch or the air yards is really where it starts to make a difference, because I can throw the ball sideways 72 times and have 30 300 yards of yards after catch, but I really only threw they're extended handoffs. Really, that's what it's an extended toss play. The only reason that it's a pass is because he throws it 3 inches forward from where he's standing. But, in reality, that's not, a sustainable offense, in my opinion. I mean, and like I said, you got people who are on Twitter talking about how, he's taking what the defense gives him. He's taking the check down, and that's all fine and dandy. But then my question is why are we calling? And I get, okay. And I get the idea where you have, like, in Sark's scheme, it's like 2 plays in 1, right? Where you have some sort of shallow route and a medium route that's in the same area to where the intermediate route can act as a blocker once the ball is caught. So really it turns into an impromptu screenplay, right? And that's all cool. When they work and they work big, and that's all great. But it doesn't seem sustainable in the sense that at some okay. So right now it is well known and well documented we do not have a deep passing game right now. So teams are already setting up with the fact that if they just keep everything, if they stand at 12 yards, 15 yards, they know that the rules of this offense is, oh, okay, take the check down. They will live by letting Texas take these checkdowns, especially because on the one time where they play man to man, Quinn audibles to a goal line fade almost and throws a 30-yard dot to DeAndre Moore in the end zone, which is what. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, so he can do it, And then last week in the Oklahoma game where he stepped up and hit DeAndre Moore across the middle on an in route, or this week when and then this week he hits Gunnar Helm across the middle on a little like a tight end version of a Texas route. He kind of stemmed out and then came back inside. And and on that play, yes, he completes it, and yes, it's a first down, and yes, it's a great play. On that play, he had Matthew Golden wide open for a touchdown. Wide open. Like wide. He could have handed the ball to him. It was wide open for a touchdown down the side. But instead, what does he do? He goes with the rules of the offense, which is what you're taught, which is what he's taught to do. So the defenses are using the rules of this offense against us. And I think that's something we have to figure out. Okay, because yes, you take the check down in this if it's a 3 high look and the middle of the field is closed and you have a in breaker route. Yes, of course, then you go ahead and you take the crosser underneath or the quick out or whatever, or you take the little swing pass. Fine. But at some point, maybe we got to look at, are the rules hurting us more than they're helping us? Because and this kind of goes back to Arch in the sense that he doesn't really give a shit about the rules. He's going to let that thing fly at the end of the day. And maybe that's just that gunslinger mentality. And with Quinn, you have a composed quote air quotes guy who's willing to take those, because they have the whole adage, you can't go broke taking a profit, right? With these numbers, though, I would argue that you're starting at a deficit and you're having to work way harder to get to make a profit, and with these numbers, he didn't have a positive pat. Like he didn't have a positive. He wasn't in the positive in air yards until let's see, 9, -5. Now we're at -7, 13. So like we're talking. He didn't have a positive air yard until like middle of the first. Let's see. I should have done this. I think I did do it, but I erased it. So -9. Now we're at -5. -7. -7 minus 6. -13. 17. Back up to 14. So it took all the way up until his 11th pass where he passed for 16 yards before he was able to even crack where he got up to +2. Took 11 passes just to that's not now granted, so in the first, so his first pass started at -3, ended up as a +8. So he had to get 11 yards just to get 8. That's a deficit. You're working way too hard to get not even a first down. Right? You did all that running and you still didn't get a first down. Okay? And then the next play was a swing pass to Trey Wisner, I think. What happened? Caught at -6, hit immediately at -6. These teams they know we're hitting they can line up in a closer coverage. Almost you can make it look like man, turn into a zone if it's a pass. If it's a man, you shut it all down and you go and or if it's a swing pass, you shut it all down and you go make the play in the backfield because you know that Quinn he's gonna wait. If you just hold his eyes long enough as a linebacker, if you just hold his eyes long enough, he's gonna take that check down and boom, you can break in, go make a tackle. It gets becoming a little bit easy to defend. It's take the snap, 1-2, nope, go take the swing pass. Take the snap, 1-2, nope, go underneath to Gunnar Helm for a gain of 2. Now you have it'd be a nightmare if we didn't have the athletes that we had. That's one of my biggest concerns is we have these athletes. Let's say we went out this year with, I don't know, any receiver core from the past. Okay. And we had this type of offense or this type of play calling and this type of decision making, then, is it, are we really even talking about this offense? Because right now it's like we know it's in there and we know we can get it going, but and this is happening at the next level too in the NFL. In the NFL, the offenses are way lower in their production this year in comparison to years past. And that's because defenses are running certain coverages. Defenses have found certain coverages that negate the big play, and they would much just like you can't go broke taking a profit, you can't break if you ain't broken. Okay, so if there is no big play given up, then then oh, there we go. If there isn't a big play given up, they'd much rather give you the 2 and 3 and 4 yards than give up the 23, the 16, the 18, the 12. You know what I mean? And that in itself is kind of making the Texas run game it's a little bit more difficult because teams don't have to worry about the RPO game, the swing. They don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about widening themselves out, widening their shape out to cover more ground because all they have to do is have their safety sit at 15, and that automatically tells Quinn it's closed. So what does that mean? I'm taking the swing. So what does that mean? They can move their linebackers up a little. They can be a little bit more aggressive. They can. So at some point, we got to ask Sark. There are offenses in this country that are straight up. You have plays named after you. The Sark screen is literally. You have teams that are stealing your offense because of how good it is. It is your job to figure out how to. You get paid $10 million, and this is not a Sark debate, and by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm challenging him as a fan because I trust him and I believe that he can because he's look where we're at. Okay, let's be real. This is still a team that's only lost 3 games in the last 24. Okay, this is still a team that just is coming off a conference championship. Granted, it's the Big 12, but it's still champs, right? This is a team that's coming off a playoff. This is a team that's coming off an Alabama, a Michigan win. So this is still a good team. This is by no means a call for Sark. That's not what this is. But because I trust him and I believe that he can do these things at a high level, it's his job to figure out how to get around what they're. It's his job to figure out the weak spot. And so far, he hasn't done it. And I think the 18 or 17 or 18 straight completions that Quinn had is a little misleading. Okay, because of the first. Let's see. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? So he went 17 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those were behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, I guess. And one of them was for 0. So you're talking about 9. Almost, it was half and half. So congratulations, you went 9 for 9 down the field. And half of those were 2 were for 2 yards, 1 was for 3, 2 were for 3, and 1 was for 4. Like, at some point you got to figure out how can we push the ball down the field. Like, they're not going to respect the run game, and your run game is going to suffer if you can't get them to think about you pushing the ball down the field. And then so you can't sit there because right now defense is just able to pin their ears back. It's become predictable. And it's become they're using the rules of our offense against us. And in a way, I get it. You want to get positive yards. You don't want to, have an Anthony Richardson type game where you go 10 for 32 because all you can do is throw it deep. Because there's a one point. We'll get to that game. So I feel like, and I want to see more Jared Gibson. Why isn't he getting? I get it. He's not great in pass pro right now as a freshman. That's fine. It doesn't matter if I would rather be predictable in the sense that if he's in the game, it's a run, or you could scheme it other way, or you could scheme it up to where you have him faking it to the left and then you do a little rollout to the right, or there's just. There and like the whole Jonte situation. Why isn't Jonte getting in the hello Amari Niblack? So this team, I'm just naming off these guys. This team is deep on offense. They have these playmakers. So why is it that we can only get the ball 2 and 3 yards down the field at a time? We're basically just having an extended run game at this point. It's basically a if this linebacker doesn't move, it's like if they don't have an immediate movement, then I'm taking the swing. If they move immediately, then I'll take the throw. How about let's just wait a little bit. Let's leave them in limbo. That might give the running back more time to get out. Right? Give him 2 or 3 more feet, 3, 4 more feet. That makes that angle for the linebacker or a safety or a corner just that much more difficult. Okay, so his timing as a quarterback, Quinn's timing is just all off. Like he gets, but it's so weird though because there were 3, 4, 5 plays in here where he did look normal. Like he did the throw to DeAndre Moore looked great. You know, the throw to Gunnar Helm in a tight window. Granted, he missed the open throw, but he hit it in the tight window with some force. Great throw. Okay, you got a first down. You can't be. I as a fan, I'm not gonna be mad at. Yes, he missed a touchdown, but look, it's a first down. We kept the drive going, and it was fine. Okay, cool, no big deal, and we ended up scoring. I think so. Not a problem there. That's not where my issue lies. My issue lies with, why is this team on offense have all of this firepower? And granted, I think losing Cedric Baxter was a much bigger blow than I think we anticipated as fans, if I'm being honest. Not having a run game that you can depend on is kind of a big deal. Now, granted, Trey Wisner has really stepped up. He's at like 406, I think, this year, 406 yards. So, we're not gonna have a 1,000-yard rusher. He would have to have like 147 yards for the rest of per game for the rest of the year. And I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I don't see us being in too many big like, and that's another thing about this Vanderbilt game. It's the penalties, man. The penalties are crazy. I mean, they had 10 penalties, 7 of which were deemed to be, a big deal. I can't remember the word Sark used in his presser, but so at some point you got to look at just the whole collection of things that this offense is going through right now. And Quinn getting hurt when he got hurt really was because like they were really starting to feel it after that. Like after that Michigan game, they were really starting to like you could see the offense was in a place where things were starting to move. And Quinn gets hurt, and granted, Arch comes in and has pretty good numbers, but it's not Quinn though. Okay, it's not Quinn back there, so that throws off the play calling's different. Now you got Quinn coming back, and he's not a runner, he's a thrower. At all, he's not a runner, so he's gonna. I mean, granted, he had a couple runs this game that were nice, but still, and the offensive line. What is the deal with slide protections? Why can you not figure it out? Y'all are not brand new to the game. You have one of the best offensive coaches, one of the best offensive line coaches, and you can't figure out a slide protection, man. And some of that's on the running back. I get it. The running back goes to the wrong side. The running back picks the wrong gap to block. I get it. Now that yes, football is a team sport, so everything at any point it could be somebody else, right? At any point it could be somebody else's problem, and it can be somebody else's fault. Let me check something real quick. Make sure that everything is up and running where I need it to be. Oh, let's see. All right, we are. Just to break it up. Sorry, I kind of got off my. I'm now live on Twitch too. Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube right now. I'm working on Twitter, but you have to be verified. I don't want to do all that yet. So, anyways, I don't know where I was at. Not gonna lie to you, but I think that I think this team has a lot of things to figure out, and oh yeah, the penalties and stuff. So and this is one game away from being a 37-17 or 30-14 game or whatever it was, but at the end of the day, it's the penalties. There was a drive there where there was like 4 penalties in a row. And this is not anything new because this showed up in the Michigan game as well. This just showed it's becoming that we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And I thought we were done with this, man. I thought we were done with this. I thought we were done with this crap. I thought we were done with letting these teams like this stick around. And because this team we are better than this. This is a good football team. So why are we continuously not showing it, not showcasing it? Like, and look, this bye week could not come at a better time because, like, Stark was asked, about Quinn, about him being 100%, and he basically responded with, "I don't think anybody on our team is 100% right now." And that's probably true. You go through Oklahoma, followed directly by Georgia. That's a tough stretch of game right there. That's a tough stretch to hang around in. And so going into a bye week, then you got Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. So there's a and this stretch of games is going to be even bigger. With Arkansas and A&M, that's two of your biggest rivals. A&M, obviously, for obvious reasons. So I think that A&M, that A&M game and Arkansas game. Arkansas is just Arkansas. We saw what happened when we went there a couple years ago in 2021 or whatever year that was. They don't call it Fate Nam for nothing, or you know what I mean. So yeah, I think I think they got a lot of stuff to figure out. They got to get the penalties right. They got to figure out how to stop shooting themselves in the foot. And now the one on Gunnar Helm, they called a hold on Gunnar Helm. I think it was Jaden Blue on like a sweep or something. And yeah, that was crap. But and then the defensive PI on Manny Muhammad. Yeah, if you're gonna call that, then you got to call the one on Wingo. You got to call that other one. But I get it. It's just my little nitpicks of that game. Okay, so that's kind of how I feel about Texas, about where they're at right now. This is a great time for a bye week. It's a great time for them to kind of figure out where they need to be, where they need to work on. It's a great time to get healthy. And I think Quinn could use it, honestly. Give him a freaking these last couple of weeks. At one point he was a Heisman favorite. At one point he was being talked about as the number one pick in the draft. Like, I'm talking weeks ago. Weeks. Not months, not years, weeks. And now we're talking about, I don't even know if he's a first or second round quarterback, if I'm being honest with you. Because he's making at this point, it's just who he is. I don't know. He's good. He's good. And he's going to be statistically probably one of the best. And we're going to look back on this in, this run of between Arch and Quinn 5 years from now and be like, golly, man, we really had it nice. We really had it good. So I'm trying as a fan to keep my composure and to be as woosah as I can about this situation. But I texted, my family group chat after the game. I don't know if I really trust Quinn right now. I know and it's just crazy because I stood on the table for him for a long time and I really believed in him and he made me look stupid. But he's our guy, and I think he's going to be able to figure it out. And let's just hope he can get back to form, get back to where he was at, get back to throwing on the run, not being scared to get hit. Let's get this offensive line. Let's fucking figure out how to block somebody in a B gap. Let's figure out how to hold up a twist in a double gap blitz at the same time. Like, why are we struggling so hard on the this offensive line was supposed to be one of the best offensive lines in the country, and we're playing like a mediocre, just okay, I guess. So that's all I got on that. I might have more later. I might do another video. The heck was that? All my animals. It was a big ass boom. I'm going to go check on that. Yeah. I'm going to go check on that. And I'm going to loop this outro for a couple of seconds because that was loud. So I will, I'll be right back. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love you like your favorite cocktail. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love you like your favorite cocktail. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love you like your favorite cocktail. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love you like your favorite cocktail. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love you like your favorite cocktail. I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with Okay, that was weird. I don't know what that was. I think the AC just turned on extra loud for no reason. That was crazy. Anyways, sorry about that interruption, folks. I'm back and I'm better than ever. So the uh the Texans. Let's kind of talk about them. CJ Stroud, still one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league. I think he was pressured on like 52% of his snaps or something like that this week. And a lot of that rests at the feet of uh Kenyon Green. They have a huge left guard problem right now. And when Jarrett Patterson came in the game, marched down the field, they score. Of course, football gods hate us. He gets a concussion. Kenyon Green gets back in and immediately gives up the pressure. Gives up a pressure. Yeah. And honestly, and shout out to Eric Murray. Shout out to Eric Murray. I was very critical of him last week, and he came out. They attacked him early and often. They I think he had 3 straight PBUs, so he played really well. I'm very impressed with Eric Murray. Um, and at this point, your defense is legit. Your defense has held 3 quarterbacks to less than 40% passer, less than 40% completion rating. Your pass rush, Daniel Hunter is a little bit. He's gotten a little bit of a slower start. I feel like maybe I'm tripping on that. Probably am. Feels like Will Anderson is eating right now. I think he's at like 8 sacks or 7.5 or something. So he's going nuts. I like the addition of Devin White. I think Devin White played pretty well. I think he took some rough angles. Probably wasn't used to being out there for so much. Didn't think he was going to be out there, and then he gets thrown out there for 35 plays. But he had a sack. Now, granted, the sack he had could have been a little bit better. He could have wrapped him up and brought him down the first time. I think he got kind of bailed out by the refs on that one. But it was a sack nonetheless. So I think when you get Toto back, you'll get him back this week. Aziz, we haven't heard anything on him. Still did not practice. They practiced today. They practiced today at 4, so we'll get an injury update on that. So at some point you're gonna have a top 4 of, and you don't forget we still got Christian Harris, wherever the heck he is right now. He's probably done for the year. He probably won't come back till next year. So, at some point you're gonna have a top 4 of Henry Toto, Aziz Al-Shire, Christian Harris, and Devin White. I listen. I'll take that. And then you're talking about a front 7 with Daniil Hunter, Danico Autry, and Will Anderson, and then you also have you throw in Barnett. So like you have a really good front 7. You got Sting on one side, Lassiter on the other. I'm not completely sold on Lassiter just yet. I think he's really good. I think he's playing out of position. I personally think he should be playing the slot corner, and then you could have Petrie be your sub linebacker, and then you go get a cornerback too. But because of where your issues are, on the other side of the ball, you kind of have to deal with that. And I think if Lassiter can hold it down, if Eric Murray can hold it down, then defensively I think we're fine. Not perfect, but I think we're fine, and I think it's a defensive team that can go head to head up with anybody. Like I previously said about issues on the other side of the ball, you might be out. Now you're gonna get Nico Collins back, not this week, I don't think, but next week. This week you're gonna have Tank Dell, Hutchison, and Mechie as your top 3, and then you're gonna have Robert Woods as your 4. So at some point, because you're not gonna have Diggs, very quite honestly could have an ACL knee injury. It was non-contact. We saw the replay. Literally just walked up to somebody, planted his foot, and then immediately fell down and grabbed it. Really one of those freak accident, one of those freak injury plays. So I think you're probably going to need, because if Diggs is out for the year, you only got him this year. It's not like you got him next year. So you're going to need to go out and get another receiver. So right there, I think you're talking about either you stick with what you got at receiver and hope to God that Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson and Tank Dell can hold it down, and Nico Collins when he comes back, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I would think you would like to go get another receiver, a bona fide, to put out there. But left guard, you have to. because Jared Patterson's going to be out for 2 days, for 2 games this week and probably next week with a concussion. So you really want to run, and there's nothing, and you're going to run out with Kenyon Green this week because it's a Thursday game. I mean, they literally play in 2 days. So, like, they're not going to go out and get a left guard and plug him in right there and let him play. So you're going to walk out there with Kenyon Green on Quinn and Williams and the Jets front seven. And we remember what happened the last time we played there. I can't do this again. I can't do CJ getting hurt again. Now, granted, Davis Mills, it looked good preseason and he looks fine. That's all. That's fine. But I need CJ and I don't want him to get hurt, and I cannot have this team go into a Jets team that's really bad. Now, granted, they have Devontae Adams and they have Aaron Rodgers and their defense is really good. That's all great. But if you want to be a playoff team, a Super Bowl contending team, a championship worthy team, these are the type of games you have to win on the road against a aging Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams and all that. These are the games you have to win. You have to show people that this is a team, because you have three primetime games in a row. You got 3 weeks to showcase yourself. So go out there, put on a show, and go win the game. Go find a way to shut down, Aaron Rodgers and the Jet offense with Breece Hall and all that. And go muster a win. Now doing that with the offensive line's problems that you have, now at some point I think you got to give Kendrick Green a look. And I know you might not want to put Kendrick Green at left guard because if Drew Scruggs goes down, Kendrick Green is your backup center. But with how bad it was with Kenyon Green, it was bad. He was the lowest graded offensive player to play yesterday. Like, it was bad. So I think, left guard's got to be your number one, position to go get, whether that be Joel Bitonio out of Cleveland, but Cleveland, just beat the Ravens, so I'm not sure they want to rip that up. They might want to try to keep it together. Jameis Winston played really well. Maybe they can get something going there with him. So there's a lot of options out there. I think, the Texans are going to be buyers at this deadline because they know that they got to go. They know they got to go win one. So I think that, the Texans team is still 1 or 2 players away. I didn't think I'd say that coming into the year, but after watching these, first 8 games, what are they, 6-2? I wonder how close are we? Are there things we need to go get? I think there are. I think a left guard. I think we could use a left guard. I think we could use another corner. I think we could maybe use another left guard, corner, and safety are kind of my. Oh, okay. So as we're on the show, ESPN reports Stephon Diggs is out for the season with an ACL. That's awesome to hear. On the flip side, the Colts have benched Anthony Richardson and plan to start Joe Flacco this week against the Ravens. You had to see that coming, right? You had to see that coming. He played awful. I mean, 10 for 32, a pick. Now, granted, he had a touchdown, but 10 for 32, and you have to pull yourself out because you scrambled too much? Really? Next time, bro, just lie. July. You ain't got to say all that. You ain't got to say just July. Okay? Like, no, my hip. Because I genuinely thought that he just got hit at awkwardly the way he fell, and like he got like a little hip pointer or something. I was like, okay, maybe you need to go out, get that checked out, make sure it's not messed up, and then you come back in. But to just come out like, I'm not gonna lie, I was just tired. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy to say out loud. You're an NFL quarterback, the least physical demanding position in all of football, but you had to run around on a couple plays, and all of a sudden you're too tired. That's crazy. And then to go 10 for 32 is crazy. He had a couple of big runs, but that's it. I think it's so crazy. I have Colts fans that I'm friends with, and I can't wait to talk mess. I need to call him. JT, I know you're not gonna watch this, but I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to say. But I mean, I'm sure I have so much more, but you know, I think that's all I got right now. And maybe I'll come back on a little bit when I have a few more things to say, and maybe I'll have some people come on with me too. You never know. You never know, Lord. You never know. But yeah, I think that's all I got for today. So to round it all up, to kind of give you the synopsis of everything, UT bye week couldn't come at a greater time. We need a break. We need to get ourselves back in the film room. We need to get things back together. The offensive line has a lot of work to do. These next couple of practices need to be figuring out how to deal with the slide, protection, and then defensively keep doing your thing. A lot of people, I think, we're giving up a little bit more points these last couple of games. That's strictly just because our offense can't get anything going. Quinn throws 2 picks that led to 14 points right there. So, and then, the targeting, that also led to points. That's obviously not on offense or Quinn, but, little things like that. 3 plays resulted in 21 points for Vanderbilt. So this is still a good team, and we were 3 plays away from stepping on their neck and really breaking them. So I think, once they get that figured out, this is still a team that can be reckoned with. So I think, Quinn's going to figure it out. He's got to figure it out for his future. I've heard, and I mentioned this to a friend earlier this week, but I've heard that, there's conversation about how should he come back, and if he comes back, is it to Texas? I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But there's a lot of questions that needs to be answered. And then for Houston, for the Texans, got to get a left guard. You got to figure out the offensive line. You've got to keep your franchise quarterback up. You've got to do that. Okay. Coming into this year is supposed to be different. Last year, our offensive line seemed like it was better, and it was a patchwork offensive line. Is Laramie Tunsil worth dealing? Can you get a package deal? Can you get trade Laramie Tunsil for a middle of the left? Maybe slide in Blake Fisher at left tackle, and then you can get a good left guard. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I would argue that I know Blake Fisher hasn't played all that well either, but neither has Laramie Tunsil. He's picked it up a little bit the last couple of weeks. He's played pretty well the last couple of weeks, but I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for an offensive line that keeps my quarterback upright in a position where he can make plays. I don't want him, and then, he rolls out, hits Mechie on it was like a 3rd and 16 or something, hits Mechie for a first down on like a 22-yard gain. But I don't want him to have to do that every play. I don't want him to have to do that to make the play, so that's all I got, though. I'm not going to keep rambling. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day. I might come back later tonight, and y'all be safe. Later, Alex. I ain't with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next. I can't listen to the hype. Wanna know that you've been mixed with lies. Love it like your favorite cocktail.